Hello, everybody. Hello. We're glad you're here to watch the show. We've got a good show for you tonight. Ye doggies.
We sure do.
Today is day 227, Sunday. That's 227 in a row with no failures. We've been consecutive, as they say.
Not too shabby.
Sunday, the 2nd of April, 2023, and you're listening to, you're involved with, you're plugged in, you're focused with RobLynn Live with Ollie, the Wonder Dog. Well, we at RobLynn Live just want to make a quick statement, and we'll make it very quick. If we created any confusion last night by blasting out about a special update, you have our apologies. It was special meeting, a bonus meeting, as it was called.
Mm-hmm.
Please know we had no prior knowledge until we blasted it out, and we blasted it out. I don't know how many thousands knew about it, and there was 13,000 at one time on it before they cut it off. At any rate, it was April 1st in many countries, all countries, and a day of April foolery in many. And so once again, that's all we're going to say on this. All is cool that ends well. So all is good that ends well here. Today's events were in 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Yvonne Mundy, and Global Movement, followed by Red was taking the day off.
The topic was peer pressure.
Peer pressure.
It was a really good presentation by Swati Goel's daughter. Very young, but very articulate. It's really a good session.
Good stuff. 12 p.m. Pop came along, Marty DeGarmo with his words of inspiration. And then at 2 p.m. he rose with right at 300 attendees.
Woo-hoo.
That's not 100, not 200, not 250, 260, 270. 300 attendees today.
That was good attendance.
How cool was that?
Very good. That's cool.
And at 8 p.m., it's a shade past 8 p.m., and you're tuned into everybody's favorite evening chat, according to Rob and Lynn.
According to us.
RobLynn Live with Ollie.
We are unbiased.
The Wonder Dog.
Right?
There's no bias.
We're unbiased.
Totally unbiased.
Mm-hmm.
Please send your love, light, and prayers out to all who may be ill, as we say, or having had an accident. And please also pray for Ash, his wife, and their two handsome young men, their boys, for their health and safety, as well as the teams, our tech team and our media teams around the globe.
Yes,
how's that sound?
Perfecto.
Okay. The reason I'm kind of going at a rather rapid pace instead of doing my usual is because we've got a number of special guests tonight. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and ring the bell to get notified when we go live, or post videos, and of course give us a thumbs up, which is a like. So hit that thumbs up button so you can give us a like, please.
Thank you.
Tonight's topic, which we have every night, tonight's topic is Onpassive, breaking the language barrier. That includes breaking the sign language barrier as well, with special guest gate crashers Marty DeGarmo, Peter Rogers, Konfor, Tony Monk, Andy Berks, and Gladys Nyaboro.
Yay.
And we did send an invitation out to our CEO, Mr. Mafara. One never knows when he might drop by to say howdy. Onpassive is making a splash with being first in a lot of areas. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Totally agree on that.
In the digital world.
Yeah.
In the data center world, with our second data center coming to fruition.
Woo-hoo.
Or has come to fruition. It was supposed to be April, and it is April.
Mm-hmm.
And we're good today, Raju. Thank you for being here, and thank you for all your help. The physical products arena and the sponsoring of major events in conjunction with Best Moments. We know all about Best Moments.
Think about the sponsorships that we probably don't even know about yet, but are done or in the works.
Love to see us sponsor the Masters golf tournament so Robbie Boy can go to his 30th Masters.
You would love that, I know.
Well, Also, the media arena. We are huge in the media arena, and we're getting ready to spread our wings, I believe, as we go globally.
We're just getting started, people, and it's already fabulous as it is. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen. My gosh.
Wowza, wowza, wowza. Well, that in a huge area our CEO takes such pride in is our being a multicultural movement. Wouldn't you say that's spot
Fair
on?
enough. Yep. Multicultural movement. Yep.
Where skin color doesn't matter, ancestry doesn't matter, religion doesn't matter, and embracing not only the cultures, but the vast catch or group of, I should say, languages. There's over 200 languages
Mm-hmm.
because you've got multiple languages within a language as well.
Lots of dialects. You guys.
Dialects here and dialects there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in fact, breaking the language barrier. So now I think it's time. We wanted to make that quick, and we did. Ooh, 7 minutes.
We
Not
only
too
got
shabby.
one in the thingy.
Okay.
We're
Well,
waiting
we
for the
can
rest to
certainly
come.
bring him on
Mhm.
if you like.
You did your presentation already?
I'm done. I wanted to keep it under 10 minutes.
Okay, so
and
while
we did.
since we're waiting for our panel to come in, we can go ahead and show the background because this might be a good time to do
All
so.
right. Here's the background, guys. We're not going to ring the bell just yet, but here's the background. It looks like Andy's house, Andy's castle.
Andy's castle.
And there are some flowers. There's some edibles there. Is that oysters? What is that? Looks like oysters on the half shell.
Is it?
I'm not sure. It's flowers anyway.
Looks like, oh, I don't know. It's something pretty. Something ornate.
All right, so we've shown the background. We'll ring the bell probably in about 15 minutes. And
then you can start your guesses. If you decide to guess before the bell rings, then it just your guess doesn't count. So you might as well wait till the bell, right, you guys?
All right, so I did keep it
Logically.
under 10 minutes, not too shabby.
Mm-hmm.
So should we bring in mystery guest number one? Or do you want to wait a couple of minutes? Okay. We do want to mention a couple of things here. It's important to stay focused, stay plugged in, stay tuned in, stay whatever you want, but not away. Because things are happening by the hour, by the minute, by the day, by the week, by the month. Things are happening. And I'd say you could say pretty clearly things are happening by the day. So please, please, please stay tuned.
There is definitely a faster pace of stuff happening, in my opinion.
Correct. Very, very true.
So you got to stay close to the back office. If I were you, just log in as often.
And if you're having any migration troubles at all, please don't waste any more time. Time is of the essence. And the only way one can be a commissionable Onpassivian or brand ambassador is to be have an O-mail and be in the OES. So that's critical. It's nice you're a founder. It's nice you're in O-founders, but it's time, if you haven't already, it's time to migrate. Don't hesitate. Migrate.
I bet that everybody here in our chat, in our live, have migrated. Just a wild guess, but people that come here, man, they are plugged in. They're ahead of the game. So I bet everyone here has migrated. Am I right? Anybody here who hasn't migrated? State so if so. I don't think so.
We have an email. It's RobLynnLive@gmail.com. And we have received a number of emails today after last night's program and are blasting out the non-blast. And that's the last we'll say of it. And so the emails have been coming in. We're hearing from people who are having trouble changing their country or changing their phone. Very simple. Log into OES, go right to your profile, click on your profile, look where it says edit profile or the edit button. Hit edit, change whatever you need to change. The only thing you cannot change just yet is an email, whether it be an O-mail or an email as your alternate email.
That's right.
So there's 144 of us here right now, not too shabby for a Sunday evening. And the other thing we wanted to say, let's see, we talked about subscribing to our channel, talked about praying, and wishing everybody well.
Mhm.
Am I missing anything?
What is today? What day of the
Today
week?
is Sunday.
So tomorrow's Monday. I don't think there's anything special on Monday.
And as John Butaka says, if anything happens during my day at the JOB, that's just over broke. For those of you who didn't know what it meant, he's out of there. And I think that's good. That's good. No more JOB for you, John. That's
Hmm.
good stuff, brother.
David says, if I was any closer to the back office, I would be hanging with the tech team.
True. David is very plugged in.
Big time plugged in.
Yeah.
Mohammed Tarak.
What you want to plan is always up to you, and how you use it. It's also up to you. Is Ash Mafar, hashtag Ash.
Hmm.
And it's just, wow, it's getting to be more and more fun. It's getting to be more and more. People are asking us when we're out in public what is Onpassive, and when they see either a hat or a shirt, and that's good stuff. Cosmo, good stuff. You've migrated. That's a good thing. Now, while there's a bit of a rush, let's say, to migrate, there'll be some time after things become live, as they say, totally live.
Mhm.
But why waste time? Time is shekels. Time is moolah. Time is rubies. Time is rupees. Time is dinero. So don't waste any more time. Get migrated. You'll feel good about yourself. It's easier to get into the back office once you've migrated. It's all good stuff. There's a blog for you to see. There's, uh, the 3 freebies are already there. You can have a ball with those. That's O-Mail, O-Trim, and O-Net. And as we've mentioned a few times in O-Net, I have 5 teams of my own, which I'll share with Miss Nakamoto, but she's not a sports geek like I am.
No.
So I don't know what the final score was in the final four. I think the women's final four final today was in the afternoon, and the men's is tonight. Not sure if it's on yet. If anybody knows,
What kind of
put
sport?
it in the
You
chat.
You didn't say
Oh,
what
basketball,
Oh,
college basketball.
Okay.
Right, from all over the United
say
States.
that because if you're not a sports person, you won't know what sport it is.
Oh, please. And Major League Baseball, which we have a club for, is in full swing. This is day 3 of Major League Baseball. So if you're a sports fan, come to Robbie Boy's clubs. It'll be fun. Hello, Gay Link.
Hi, Kaylee.
Glad you're here. Thanks for being here. And
Oh.
Muspec is here.
Rob's looking fresh and Lynn's looking tired. I guess I needed more makeup. Shucks.
I caked it on today so that I would look young and refreshed. I don't feel refreshed, but that's another story. And we've got someone else that's come on with us. Are we ready?
Can we
to
bring
bring
you want to bring
on?
2 on? We can bring 2
Let's
on.
get 2 to get this show on the road.
2 people can come in now.
Miss Gladys Nyaboro
The 2
and
earliest. Yay.
Mr. Andy Berks. Yes, yes, with the victory sign. You and
Okay.
Winston Churchill.
So if you don't know Andy well, this is what he always does. Do it again. One more time.
Andy Berks.
That's his trademark.
That's the V for
It always
victory.
makes me laugh. I love it.
And Gladys' trademark is her smile.
And
that's
Gladys
cool.
has her big smile. Hi, Gladys.
So we mentioned, if you weren't tuned in just a few minutes ago, we mentioned our topic, and we're talking language and Onpassive, breaking the language barrier.
Oh, Gladys, you got to unmute your mic. I don't know if the mic is unmutable. I tried to unmute you. It wouldn't let me.
See if you can hit the microphone with a little click.
Yes, I can hear you.
There's Gladys.
Yes, hi.
So we're expecting a few more guests, but let's kick it off. Let's talk about language and how Onpassive is breaking that barrier. Who wants to go first? Ladies first? Ladies first.
Gladys, take it. Go first.
Thank you so much, Rob and Lynn. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Very clearly.
Yes. The topic of language barrier is big issue, not only non-passive, but I think everywhere. Anytime that someone moves from the original country or from the original language to a place where they speak a different language, there's always language barrier. And even if you are in the same place, for example, I'm originally from Kenya. If an opportunity comes up and is presented to the Kenyans in English, a good number of people will understand because English is our official language. But it's not a language that is spoken by everybody in the country. So because of this, many people miss opportunities because of language barrier. And I think Onpassive has come with a solution. Of course, we cannot solve everything in the world regarding language barrier, but we take pride in ourselves, the fact that Onpassive's product have taken that into consideration. And being that we are a global company from about 200 countries, we have many people who don't speak English, who speak different languages. And when we look at All Connect, that you can be able to use a product, the same product can be able to be used worldwide, but people will have an opportunity to be able to attend the meeting in a language that they understand. So Onpassive really has an upper hand in confronting this issue of language barrier and coming up with a solution, not just confronting it, but coming with a solution. Look at Academy, the same thing. We have many children or many people around the world who have been left behind because for the most part, I can speak for Kenya and I'm sure in many other countries, but for Kenya specifically, from baby class, say nursery, you go to first grade, third grade, there you can learn Swahili. Or the teacher can try to explain things in a language that you understand, especially if it's a community school and the teacher speaks the same language, the teacher will be able to try and explain to you to be sure you understand, even if it means in vernacular. But then that's not the official language that the children, our students are examined on. So if you really don't understand English, which is the official language, you are doomed, you know? And when we have this academy that is now going to address this issue, because the gap between the people who are educated and uneducated is very wide. And when people are uneducated or when they are not exposed to the language being presented, they miss out a lot. So we are very proud to be Onpassivians. This is a solution that we are proud of to introduce to the world. Thank you. I give it back to you, RobLynn.
Okay, Academy is going to rock the world with education. And the way we look at it, we both speak one language and one language only, and it's going to be time for us to maybe broaden our horizons.
That's right.
And learn another language. I'm looking at French. Parlez-vous français?
Oh.
So that's the only 3 words I know. So, and I definitely don't speak that language. So, Andy and Tony, should we go over to our second lady on the panel?
Of course.
All right. Is that all right, Tony? All right. Over to you. Comfort Konfor.
Hello, can you hear me, please?
Loud and clear. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Hi, RobLynn. Hi, Andy, Tony, my sister Gladys. Of course, it's nice to be here talking about the something I consider like the next thing to the air we breathe and the food we eat. To me, it's language. Because language is a means of communication, and if we can't communicate, we can't talk to each other, we can't send a message and get feedback, then there is no life. So like we see, Mr. Bufare has made it possible. And I want to look at the very first language that he's using here as one that everybody understands. Sometimes it's difficult to say that there's a universal language, but then we've got that one to show that everything is actually possible without passive. And that universal language here is love, the 4-letter word. That is a language that everybody understands, and it goes across everybody. You don't need to say it in any language, but then showing it and acting it, everybody believes that, yes, I am loved. I understand that language, and it brings all of us together. And of course, we just appreciate what we see in our ecosystem. We have dozens of them out there, You don't need to be a Chinese to speak to make a conference or hold a conference in China and stuff like that, because people just click the button and they are here, of course. So, the good thing here is that whether these languages, unfortunately or fortunately, we can't have all of them in the ecosystem. But then, one of the things, again, the resources, the value that Onpassive has is the fact that we have so many talented people that who will always make up, like my sister Gladys was saying. I think Swahili is out there already, but then there are so many other languages that if you don't find there are definitely people who will still bring it out there. And so finally, at the end of the day, nobody will still be left behind, because we will break the barrier. We speak it, we break it down to our grandmas in a language they will understand, to our nephews and cousins, to our, and so on. So like there's one of the major languages back in my country, Cameroon, and of course almost the whole of entire West Africa, because Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, we understand this, which we call Pidgin. This one is just naturally acquired. You don't learn it in school, you don't study it in school, but you just acquire it naturally. Sometimes children, before they start speaking, they speak Pidgin first. And it's accepted in offices and public places, even though it's not studied in school and stuff like that. So we are looking at the beauty of all of this and say, one, everything is possible. We just hope that one day you pop out there and find Pidgin, or you find Swahili, or you find one of these languages. However, if they are not there, nothing stops us. We are going to put everything together. So when Mr. Mufare says nobody will be left behind, it means nobody will be left behind, because what we think that is not there or is yet on pipeline, we make it up and happily, and so it goes. So we connect. Everybody is actually connected. I'm sorry that I'm taking maybe a lot of time, but we have done stuff. Sometimes you make videos in Pidgin, and moms from back home who are founders, they're like, oh, I just registered this thing because somebody told me. I didn't know what it was all about until I listened to your video in that language and so on. And you're like, okay, you can see. So truly, language breaks the barrier, and it's possible. Onpassive will touch every life on planet Earth. I'll end here for now.
Good stuff. How many different is it dialects within a language? Is that how you say it?
Dialects. He's asking about dialects. I don't know.
Within
You mean-
within
Oh.
Pidgin, are there different?
Oh, Pidgin. There are many dialects of Pidgin, because even within my country, Cameroon, there are dialects of Pidgin within that country. And then Nigeria has its own accent. Sierra Leone has theirs. I'm talking about the ones that we in West Africa can understand. I don't want to go back to Papua New Guinea and the rest, because that's another Pidgin. But then within us, there are a good number of them. So yeah.
Definitely needed, maybe within Onpassive through either Academy or Connect.
Yeah, sure. That's actually a dream, because I just think that given the dialects, but then when you speak, we understand ourselves. I'll just take example for myself, because I speak Pidgin a lot, and my Pidgin is understood throughout West Africa, given the dialects, the different accents, and so on. So we just pray that one day it shows up that at the back office, oh my God, we've got a Pidgin, and then we are trusting how it can be done. And we know that when Mr. Mufare says, when you can think about something, you can do it. And that's what we're hoping that it happens. And secondly, like in the at the ONNET, where you have the blogging and the podcast, the drop down out there, Pidgin is still lacking. I'm just like, no, this is something that we need to make up. So hopefully Mr. Mufare hears this. If not, somebody will take it to them, and we hope that one day we'll find Pidgin out there. I want to do a podcast in Pidgin, because back home, this is Africa now. When I say back home, there's a wise saying or an idiomatic expression that when you speak to somebody in their language, you speak directly to their hearts. There are sometimes, if my grandmom sits here and I'm speaking this, you just say, well, my granddaughter is speaking out there. But not until I speak in my language, she's like, all right, I get it, that she smiles. So you spoke to their heart. So we just want to speak to the hearts of our people in Pidgin, in our languages, and so on. And all of these things, while we make it up and so on, but there are a few of those that we would really like to find in our back office, in our own net, and just keep it going.
What another way to help uplift humanity by language. Like you say, that's how we communicate. So
Yep.
That's good stuff. All right, over. Let's see. Over to Andy. Got you covered, Berks.
Interestingly enough, I was on a webinar the other day, and the main speaker did his initial speech in English, and then translated it into Italian, and then into Spanish, and then apologized because he couldn't do it in Greek. But it was interesting to understand that the group that they have can't get on the webinar, A, because of the limitations that they have within excuse me, within the current platform they use, but also more importantly, the vast majority couldn't get onto the webinar because they don't understand English. So when we have a system that can translate into all of these various different languages on the fly, all of these people could be on the call,
Right.
which is phenomenal. I think for the most important thing for me, having travelled around the globe a little bit, is to at least be able to ask for a beer in a different language.
That would be a pint in your life.
And one of the best ones that I practiced for many, many years, and I've still probably got it wrong, is Wa Xiang Yao Ibe Pidgin, which is Chinese for "Can I have a beer, please?"
How's that? I know.
Yeah, I'll have to try that on an O Connect and see if it comes out in English.
Andy, Auntie Lynn, sorry, I need to interject here. Andy, I think before we leave, Pidgin is the easiest to learn. So I think we can learn a few words here before we end up the show at some point, so that when you come to Africa, it will be really quick and you get your bottle of drink.
There you go.
You can teach along the way, Comfort. No problem. Teach us something right now.
Okay, I'm going to say I wanted. Auntie, what did you want? Was it a bottle of beer?
Yeah, a large one.
Say, would I fit give me one beer for the?
One beer, buddy.
So you fit give me one beer for there.
That's so tough.
You got that, Andy? You're going to need that.
I'm going to need that when I go to Africa. Absolutely.
Why would he need it? Except that you don't want him to come to Africa. All right, over until I'm letting you go.
All right, Tony Monk, bring it, brother.
Ready, Tony?
Tony's got to unmute.
Unmute. Okay, you're unmuted.
Go ahead, Tony.
Oh, wait, try again. Unmute. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Loud.
Okay. My God, I've been having problems with this technology for the whole day today. How's everybody doing? And thank you so much for everybody saying hi to me. I've seen so many highs in the what do you call it down below there. But yeah, we're talking. Pardon?
The chat.
The chat, yeah, the chat. Thanks, Lynn. Yeah, we're talking about language barrier. Language barrier is very important. It's connected to communication. So, I mean, if we want to communicate with each other, we have to have some sort of, we have to get beyond that language barrier. It's very important that we do. And with Onpassive, I believe that we're going to have all the tools and technologies to break down the language barrier. I really do believe that, only because we are generations ahead of our time, in connecting with humanity, and Onpassive's got it all as far as I'm concerned. And all I need to know in one language, Andy, you were talking in Chinese, is "Uma cerveja, por favor," in Mexico. That's all I need to know.
Get me a beer now.
That's right.
Grande cerveza, por favor. You don't want a small one, you want a large one.
Right, exactly.
Well, we're broadening our horizons tonight with our language. We're getting there.
Learning the important stuff, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So anyway, I mean, we've got everything in the back office. So, and I love this idea of the translation with the chat bot. You'll be asking the chatbot in your language a certain question, and they're going to respond to you in your language. I mean, it's just absolutely phenomenal. I've never seen anything like this in all my life that I've been doing marketing. But Onpassive, of course, has got it all, and we are the what is it called? What is the word that you say there, Rob? We are the
solution to the pollution.
Thank you. Back to you, Lynn.
Out there, we'll solve one problem at a time, but I think we're gonna be problem solvers for a long time.
Oh, absolutely, I agree. Yeah,
I'm proud
there's
of
no
us.
doubt about that.
We're breaking new ground. In other words, going where no other company has done. And I think in this language area, we're going to be at the top. We'll be role models for the rest of the corporate world, I think.
Absolutely, Lynn. And another thing too that comes to mind is that, the people that Ash is hiring, all these technicians that he's hiring, he's given them the opportunity to be free thinkers, so they can come up with more solutions moving forward into the future. A lot of companies don't allow their employees to think freely. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, that's another plus that we have that we can chalk up.
Do you speak French living in Canada?
What's that?
You
Rob?
speak Francais living in?
No, I don't speak French. I speak 3 languages though: Spanish, Portuguese, and English.
Nice.
Yeah, a little bit of Spanish.
If I say "Donde está su baño," you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
All right. Hey, Marcienne, you're here. Come on, dance on in, will you?
Hi, Marcienne.
Hello everyone, bonjour, bonsoir, bon après-midi. Nous parlons des langues, moi je parle la langue française.
Oh,
There's somebody who speaks
Elle est
French.
la femme qui a volé mon mari.
Sing it.
Hello, yeah, we are talking about language, but the beauty of everything is that Onpassive have broke that barrier of languages. So being in, you don't have to worry about not hearing what your brother or your sister is talking about because of the technology tools that Onpassive had. Everything is going to be clear. But at the same time, like Gladys was saying, I think it was Sister Konfor say it, when you speak on the language that your own people understand, it makes it even more beautiful. You are so comfortable on your skin saying it because you are so sure of the words when they come out from your mouth. And you are so sure that what you are saying is so real. And they get it because they see the emotion, the love, everything that you are bringing it out when you are speaking it with your own language. So for that, I want to say, I'm here. My name is Marcel Nemabu. I live in the great state of Texas. And my city is Katy. I'm not in Houston anymore. So, bonsoir, bon après-midi. Je m'appelle Marcel Nemabu. Je vis dans la belle ville de Texas. Et puis, ma ville, c'est Katy. Et soyez la bienvenue. Nous sommes à RobLynn Live. Thank you so much.
Cha, cha, cha. All right. Good stuff, Marcienne. Good stuff. We're expecting 1 or 2 other folks, but whoever wants to go next, Comfort, if you want to come on back in, come on back in.
Yeah, I would come on back in. So one of the things, because this language thing, as we speak, I still look at it. It's next to the air we breathe and the food we eat. Because things are just getting so easy in such a way that the language barrier that is being broken here in Onpassive makes life very easy. Sometimes, God, I'm a very passionate person when it comes to thinking about my people and stuff. Back home, or to the best of my knowledge, the teacher does one of the best jobs on planet Earth because they are nation builders. They do all that they do. They go through all that. Teachers in the part of the world where I come from, sometimes I feel like they do this just for nothing because it's pathetic what they earn and stuff like that and all of those. Imagine where this will take you to. Because sometimes people need to travel miles away from home to go and teach mathematics just to make a living or to teach English or to teach this. But then you can stay where you are now, like teachers, for example, back in my country, they don't need to go to any other country. Stay where they are and teach mathematics, teach all of those things and so on, and make it. and make it just right there. So it's just so cool. Then there are times you're doing something like, just take for, let's ignore even formal education. People know how to do a lot of stuff, but sometimes you do these things, maybe like, there's a lady I follow on YouTube who does this crochet that I like doing, but she speaks in her language. Imagine that this language now is here. It's going to take her to places, she'll bless a lot of people who just want to learn something new and then change their lives. It's learning something new, like doing the craft or doing whatever thing. She doesn't go through the stress of, oh, my thing will just be stuck here because I don't have anybody to listen to, and so on. But then as you speak, it just suffices for me to click on the button of the language that I understand, and there you go. I hear you, understand you, and follow the instructions and do all of those things. So it's actually a game changer. It's just going to transform lives. It's going to bring, even self-confidence, dignity. People have a lot to do, but because they don't have that language to express it, it dies in them. They die with a lot of information that they have to help people out there with. But then Mr. Mufare has made it possible so that even people who don't speak verbally, until Lynn is here to just spin her fingers around and somebody's nodding, I'm just like, what did she do? But then she spoke to that person, so it's just a wonderful thing. And I think it's just going to go places. So you don't even have any problem. That right now, for example, we of Heroes, we call everybody brother, sister, and so on. It's just okay for me to call even a Chinese or whoever call them brother, because if we will sit here, turn on All Connect, and we discuss. God, I will just speak normally in English. Hopefully, All Connect gets my accent and translates it well, interprets it well, and the person will get it, speak in their language, and they interpret it back to me. There's no barrier. There's no time waiting for somebody to search on something, and it goes just like that. So it's just such a wonderful thing for us. It's business. It's a movement. It's family. It's reunification, or I don't know how to put it, but then there's something to it. That it's just, we're actually, the pollution, we see it just going, everything is just making way. Before you discover, life is going to be worth living again for many people who had given up. But this is one of the things that will bring lives to people. Language barrier.
For sure. And we have a comment by Jean-Louis Emmanuel, and he says that, hello, I think many can speak Pidgin in Cameroon, Nigeria, Ghana, but few can read it. Do you have a comment on that?
Yes, and Lynn, that's what I said earlier on when we had our leaders meeting, right? I said that either because it's a language that it comes almost number one before our official languages. Like back home, we speak French and English officially, right? But then when you go to public places, business places, Pidgin comes first, because whether you've gone to school or not, you can speak Pidgin, you can communicate in Pidgin. But they don't write it. Nowadays, we're even contemplating whether they should actually take it to the classroom. There's no need keeping it out there when it's a whole language of its own. It's got to go. And so, yeah. But then, so what we can do, I don't know. But then we keep thinking, because we're really wishing and hoping that we'll find it out there too in our business. You can start by making videos, but if it's writing it, very few people will read. So somebody like me, I do write in Pidgin, but I make my own vocabulary and my own stuff. Only somebody who's educated can read it. But when you speak it, everybody understands. So it's actually more of a spoken language than, yeah.
That's really interesting. And
RobLynn,
yeah, go ahead, Tony.
I wanted to say something, and there's one universal language, and that's the language of love. And most of us here in Onpassive, as leaders, especially, because I've seen it so many times, we break down those language barriers the best we can, so we can communicate, because we love what we're doing and we love the idea of helping other people. And I think that's very important. I think the universal language of love is huge. And of course, with the technologies we have with Onpassive, I mean, that's going to break even more language barriers as well, on top of what I just stated. Thank you.
Yeah, Tony,
I think you pronounced it wrongly, though, Tony. It's the language of love.
Love. That's right. That's right, Andy. You're right. You said it.
Okay, if you say love, I don't know how Andy says it, but listen carefully so that you don't get me wrong when I want to say it.
I think one of the exciting things is if you think about the your lives. So now you move across to OConnect. Now, if you look on places like YouTube, for instance, there is a massive market that we lose out on because they don't speak English.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do a live that can be translated into 57 different languages, just think how many people you could get on the call.
Are you saying that OConnect, being able to connect to YouTube, is going to make a difference?
Absolutely. Think about it.
Definitely.
You do your live with OConnect, but you do it through. You can then link it to YouTube. You can link it to Rumble. You can link it to Restream, whatever, whichever platform. Link it to Facebook, etc. But advertise the fact that you can listen in on 57 different languages. How many people will come on the live?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot.
One of the questions I would like to ask Ash is, I wonder whether it would be if you recorded something, whether when it's played back, whether you could still get it. So you're in Germany, for instance, and you want to play that video back, whether it would then allow you to access the different languages because you're already in German. So we know our back office, for instance, if you speak another language, you can set the language in that back office. So I wonder if that's possible from a recording.
It's yet to clarify that, but I did think so, because look at Academy. Teachers will be teaching and recording classes or courses, and then the students can go and listen and do the assignments at their own pace. Say, for example, the class was during the day, it was recorded, and I'm going to listen at night. I think he has mentioned before that I will be able to listen to the class in a language that I understand.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we are yet to clarify that. And if that happens, that I can listen to a language that I want when I need it, that's a game changer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Then you add that, as I said, to your YouTube channel. So you record something on OConnect, put it onto your YouTube channel or your Rumble or whatever it might be, and you've opened up a market there that nobody else has.
There's nothing limited to Onpassive.
That's what I'm going to say too.
Nothing limited. The doors are open. The possibilities that we have here are humongous, and Ash has mentioned it many times. If we don't have it, we don't need it, right? So I believe that this is going to be a great possibility as well, Andy, that you're talking about there. It's going to open up a lot of doors, absolutely, 100%.
And
you know. Okay, go ahead, sis.
And remember what we have seen about OConnect, for example, is just the tip of the iceberg. We don't know everything else. Mm-hmm. You know, there are many features. I'm sure that some will discover as we go, and will be blown our minds completely.
Yes.
Yeah, because like when you think that our CEO says, if you can think something, if you can imagine something, you can do it. You remember a few short videos that some of our fellow brand ambassadors made advertising, I've switched to OConnect and stuff. Those videos were recorded on various devices, but when they played them on OConnect, did somebody notice anything? They were superb, right? So Andy, I just want to think that if they did that, because the images were totally transmitted, they were so beautiful. I saw some of our brothers and sisters and were like, oh, what's happening? So I thought that, are they live on OConnect? But no, there were videos that were they recorded in various devices. When they played them on OConnect, they just streamed and went public the OConnect way. So I think that that's a possibility. If it's not on pipeline, it's not already done. I think it's doable. This is Onpassive, right? So.
And Brother Ash, if he doesn't watch live, he turns it up the speed to about 1.5, 1.75, and he doesn't miss a RobLynn Live. So I'm sure if he's not watching now, he will be. And I think you may see some things come out in the next webinars or two.
Yeah. And
right.
we have
and if
May I chip in a little bit? And
Yeah.
about what our brother Angie just said, I remember the first day I tried Oconet, I have asked a question to our CEO Ash, and I told him about language. And I said, okay, we have, for example, if we are having a webinar in English, just like what we do now, and we have translator, our French community are always in another room with somebody trying to tell them exactly. So is it going to be okay for us to be listening this in our previous language? And what he said was so amazing. And he said this, if I told you you speak English and French, that you are going to speak Italian, Spanish, what are you going to say? So if you have to record a video, and he talk about academy on that same day. He said, for example, people that they have it, they're going to use academy. Remember, he have told us before that you can record in your class and give it later. So when you record your class and you send it out to your student, it's just as well as you were there at that moment. So all those things, Andy, I'm sure and I bet you that they are already there, because this is Onpassive for real, like Sister Konfor said every time. I'm sure that those part of things are there already, and I really it's going to be a. This is like Brahmadi said the other day, that the fence is down. This is the fence down on the internet. So you just have to take it and run with it.
Yeah, you know, in Onpassive, there, as far as I'm concerned, this is what I really do believe in with Onpassive. There are no barriers, just solutions, only solutions. Okay, we will have solutions to all these barriers. I really do believe that, and I mean, we see it already. It's amazing.
And another beautiful thing is that Onpassive products actually are changing lives already. We have seen that from even the founders themselves. Many founders, especially the ones from the countries that speak Swahili, which are about 4 countries now, when they were calling us to ask questions, some questions were very obvious. Some didn't know how to get to Swahili in the back office, default to Swahili so that they can be able to read about things in Swahili. But since they learned that, we have seen many leaders uprising, helping other founders in a language that they understand. So I believe every product that has been created by Onpassive has been created intentionally with the purpose to make it easier for the user, to make it better.
Well, let's see. Andy knows how to get to the bathroom. He knows how to get another beer, a large beer, a grande beer. What else would you like to know, and in what language, Andy?
Let me think.
This is a G-rated show, so be careful.
I don't
Are
think
there
that
any games in the room?
I don't think that Andy know how to ask for a beer in French. Andy,
There's ladies here.
je peux avoir une bière, je vous en prie.
I have no idea.
Okay,
But we won't go into that one, because I do know one in French, but I won't say it. So that's an interesting one. I mean, the thing is, I've worked around in many different countries, and we Brits are particularly lazy when it comes to languages, because and certainly in my industry, I'm only dealing with customers that speak English. I'm not dealing with others. I've spent time in Mexico. That was very interesting. I got mugged by the local police the day I arrived, but everybody I spoke to was an English speaker. Let's put it that way. The only problem I did have was the taxi drivers don't speak English, so you had to get the translation, shall we say, of directions of where you're supposed to be going on a fax, because that's what they had then, which was always quite amusing. But I living in Dubai, I would have loved to have learnt Arabic, and I started, I must admit, but I was dyslexic as a kid, so it was always very difficult for me. But I do know what strawberries and cream are in Danish,
And
because you have to have this guttural speak. So it's grrr me fleur.
you are quite literate.
You know what one thing about this language barrier is it's actually huge, because it breaks the barriers and it takes people to levels where the skies actually would be their beginning point, where people who would have been limited just because of language. Because there are some of these languages you would have loved to learn just because maybe you either want to do something in that country or in that language, or you have something to sell or to do with them. You can't. Just take like German, maybe it sounds really good to listen to it, but then learning it is just like, oh my God, where do I start from here? Like the Arabic, like my sister Gina Levi is saying. But because of the fact that somebody has facilitated it for you, me in person, I really do love languages, and so I learn them really quick. But some people, it's not their thing. But then that language, because they can't learn it, they can't just standard those things that they see out there. They're limited, and then what they have to show to the world remains with them. But these days, it just takes a click and it's gone, and your message has gone far and wide beyond the ends of the earth. So it's just very, very exciting. It's such an interesting and very wonderful thing that has happened to us. So I hope that we all make use of it. Guys, show off all that you have, because Mr. Mufare and his team have made it possible. Just speak it, just write it, and make sure you get a better accent than mine, so that the AI can pick it up and send it out there and get it going, right? So yeah.
I also believe, perfectly said, Comfort. I love that. I also believe that the O-Connect that we're going to be having is going to be a language, is going to be a solution to the barrier, only because we'll be able to learn different languages from O-Connect.
Yep.
I really do believe that, and I'm in. I'd love to learn as many languages as I can possibly learn. One thing I learned today, though, Comfort, I think I mentioned it to you, is I didn't realize that Pidgin was a dialogue from different languages that have already been here for a long time, right? I thought it was an old language going back thousands of years. It's interesting, very interesting.
No, it is indeed. It is. Pidgin is just a melting pot of any language you can imagine of, especially the European languages, and you roll it out there and start going, So anyway, Sister Gladys, I'm still on it. I'm trusting God that I learned just one more, and that would be Swahili. So
you got it. So Swahili basic jambo is hello. And with the jambo, you can survive anywhere. Once you say jambo, you have already created a report, and someone will stop and smile.
I know.
And
I can say Hakuna Matata.
Asking for help.
Yeah.
What does jumbo mean?
It's like saying hello.
Hello.
Oh,
yes.
hello. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But then thinking about Onpassive, like we've been through webinars. How many of you have been to webinars to a language that you don't speak, that you don't even understand? But because of, I think, the language of love, as Brother Tony said it, you go in and you enjoy completely. You enjoy the webinar. My family find me listening to webinars in different languages, and my husband goes, "Are you understanding it?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can tell what they are talking about. I don't understand everything, but I can hear, connect the excitement, and I'm there. Oh, Mail, I'm enjoying."
I agree, Gladys, and you're right. And I've been to some of these webinars where I can't speak the language, but you can just feel the love. And the leaders in those webinars also have enough respect and enough love to translate what they're saying sometimes, or recognize in us people that don't speak their language, which is pretty neat. It's pretty cool how they include us as much as they can, right?
Yeah, and I think that even through Onpassive, many people have developed some new skills that they are unaware of. Because learning a language, its second language, for example, takes one, paying attention to detail and being attentive, listening carefully, right? So somebody comes to Onpassive, they had to our webinars, they have an issue, we need to sort it out. We don't know, they're really struggling to speak English. You know how much we go through. You listen attentively. Sometimes you ask them to speak again, or you concert with others, and we finally solve this problem without them really understanding English and without us speaking their language. So that skill that we're developing without knowing it is already one thing, which shows that the language, whether we like it or not, the barrier is already broken, and we all are doing already more than we used to do before now, language wise. We're talking about, I don't know, until Lynn, you should have teach us a few stuff. Why am I forgetting? I think I still have a Swahili and then the sign language, hopefully, because I love languages. I can't stop learning them. So think of you sitting on the screen there, somebody who doesn't hear, you just raise your fingers and do those things, and then they understand and stuff like that. How many, we've not seen this anywhere yet. We know that people do this in conferences and so on, but there are no businesses that have these features and stuff, or the speech to text thing where they're speaking and somebody who can't speak can read it on the screen. We have it all. And this is, I think it's a wonderful thing.
The world is going to be turning on its head, like a top.
Yeah. You know, Rob, before now we have heard a few things, and they just say them for the sake of saying it, but Onpassive is just coming to make all of them happen, because before now we used to know that the world or the internet has rendered or reduced the world into a global village and stuff like that, but we have never had this connectivity. Why do I call Tony my brother, or this person sitting here and holding his chin, Andy Berks, some crazy person? But then it's so real because you just feel it, you're just like, oh my God. So all of these things, we've heard them. Oh, the internet has rendered the village, reduced the village, the world into a global village and stuff and stuff and stuff and stuff. But then it ends there on some social media platforms, which people don't like, But then the real thing is here, and you can feel it, you can really, it feels good. We do hug ourselves every day, but we don't So everything here is real, and there's just more to it. The barrier to everything apart from language, everything is just falling apart. That doesn't need to be there. And before we realize, everything is standing on the right position.
I agree 100%. Yeah, what a beautiful thing to say. I never really thought of it that way. Comfort, like a platform like this is a barrier. I'm sorry, it's a language barrier in so many ways. Yeah. Amazing.
Before I get into trouble, I got in trouble last night for being a big mouth when I blasted out what we blasted out. So tonight, we've already been asked 28 times, why didn't you ring the darn bell? So they could guess the background. So, as everybody knows, it's time to ring the bell, and we'll take any and all guesses. Here we go. We're only 42 minutes late on ringing the bell, so I'm probably in trouble again. But do guess, and guess as often as you want. And we have another guest on with us we'd like to bring in now if we can, and that's Yvonne Mundi. And
before you go ahead, hi, Sister Yvonne. Rob and Lynn, you just spoke another language. Some of us don't understand yet, but you want to break the barrier as fast as you can. What's the ringing of the bell? That's a whole language of its own. You just communicated something. We are still left in the dark. Maybe me alone.
That used to be a call to my kids and grandkids. You better hit the ball. That's what the ringing of the bell meant. And or in football, when my kids were playing high school and college football, the ringing of the bell was, you better make that tackle, or you better make that touchdown. So yeah, it is. It's a universal language, that bell. So there we go. We got another language.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm going to be ringing the bell all night long now. Let's see what happens.
And let's welcome Yvonne Mundi to the panel. Hi, Yvonne. How are you?
Good, wonderful. I'm just listening to you guys. I am just so happy and excited of all the ideas and everything. But the one thing is, all is going to be done, because Mr. Mufarid knew when he was putting 1.4 million founders together of different background, different orientation, different upbringing. He knew, because all those talents, we are wondering why they are right inside within us, So I'm telling you, don't be surprised. There will be no language that is going to not have an interpretation. I'm going to be interpreting up to 8 languages. Pidgin English. Sister Comfort, you mentioned that. That is what we're going to be talking, because our people, especially our grandparents, they're going to understand that more. We're going to do that. French is there. We're going to do that. Meta in my language, I already created a Meta club because I want my grandparents to understand Meta. Even Mungaka. You know Mungaka.
I
And
do speak Mungaka, sis. I speak Mungaka.
you do?
I speak a little bit Mungaka, a little bit.
Yes, Swahili is a language that I want to learn. French, I want to perfect it because I didn't know that I was going to need it. I didn't know that I was going to be an Onpassive. They forced me in university to do it. And I was just doing it without paying attention. I can speak it, but I passed it because I wanted to make it at the university. I did. I'm going to perfect that. A lot of languages I like to learn. I am an educator. I'm a speaker. I do all of those things. All of us here, we are. Onpassive has given us those things. They're teaching us even in Onpassive to do all of these things. I don't see any barrier. We have all kinds of talents in this Onpassive. Right here, I listen to all of you. Everybody here has a talent. Everybody here can do something with regards to language. Like one of our sisters said before, language is just like food. It is. If you can't communicate, it is an art. If you don't communicate well, nobody's going to hear you. You can't do anything. You can't teach the children at home. You have to be able to communicate and communicate with that love, that intimacy, that worth and value that the children will say, oh, they will listen. They will, you know? So, and if you don't, what do the children do? They're going to correct you, because my children correct me. They're going to correct you. So we have those talents. I don't see, and even if it is not now, but as we grow, because we're going to keep growing, those things are going to come, because they will. Because Onpassive, it's limitless, that I know. And I thank God Almighty that we are part of this. I am part of this because the dream, the big dream that I saw had long time ago, I've been struggling to accomplish it, but now it's here. I'm going to accomplish it. I'm going wild. But I thank you guys so much for your contribution. I love you all.
We love you and thank you.
I will say in
Marty,
English,
Can I help? I
namaste.
want to help. Sorry, I want to help Jean and Liva. So Jean, this is a difficult one for you because if you go back just to my own country, it's not up to 1/3 of Nigeria. We have over 300 languages. However, the main language, it depends what part of Africa you want to go to first. If you consider West Africa, then go for Pidgin. If you consider East Africa, then go for Swahili. I don't know what language is common within the Southern Africa, but then choose your location and you will get help. If it's Pidgin, we will help you.
And if it's Central Africa, you go for French.
You know, yeah.
we.
Yeah, and just to add something small, I think many founders are not aware that we have many languages in the back office. Make it a point today. Check, go even to the back office and the OES, do a drop down. See, is a language there that you understand. Of course, for now, we don't have like all the mini dialects, like there are people who speak English, but or Swahili, but still, we have Swahili. Swahili is a major language spoken by at least 4 countries. Check the updates. If you default the language, for example, to Twi, I saw there is Twi language. If you default to Twi, then you go click updates, see what was discussed on the webinar. You will be able to see all the updates in Twi, in Swahili, in whichever language that you pick, if it's among the listed languages. But as Sister Ivona said, Onpassive is limitless and we expect more. Thank you.
Yeah, I know that was a good reminder, Sister Gladys, because truly many people are struggling. Go there is Yoruba, there is all of those things. So just click on those languages, and if you see the name of your language, then click on it. It's going to change everything into that language that you understand, and you get it. Because many people are struggling, oh, I can't get this. Maybe you don't understand English well, and you don't know that it's in your language. So thank you for bringing that up. Onpassive makes it easy and great for everybody. No one's is going to be left behind for any reason.
Marty, other than Southern Jersey, what languages do you speak?
So
Leave Marty alone.
Yeah, I'm in the doghouse. I speak Onpassive, Berian, and English.
Siberian and English. Very nice.
Good answer.
Onpassive, Berian, I'm better at. English, I got to work on it a little bit.
Well, I'm glad you hopped on board because the ladies were outnumbering us 2, 3.
If
4.
I knew you had this powerhouse women, I would not have come on. I'm not that stupid. Okay.
oh, we're happy you came, Marty. Come
We're
on.
happy you're
I
here.
try to surround myself with people that I'm a little higher than. But you know, but I don't want to be on here with all of them. That's just not fair. It's not fair.
But your presence is enough. It speaks volumes. So we thank you.
Yeah.
But I want to apologize for something, guys. I'm sorry. I'm in my PJs. Auntie Lynn sent me that link when I was already in my PJs. I'm really sorry. I'm not supposed to be this way, but thank you.
Now we know you are in PJs.
Now you are
didn't
telling
know.
us. We
You are
didn't
fired.
tell us.
I'm in my
Yeah.
PJs too, so
Oh, okay. Good.
That's way too. That's Onpassive.
Yeah.
You know, this is just such a beautiful thing. I don't know. I lack words to always express what we are experiencing here in Onpassive. Because if you think, and I know a lot of us, we know what is going on in the world, especially with the younger generation. We know it. And to have this, we have to do everything in our capacity to guard it, to nurture it, to love it, to pray for it, to do whatever it takes, because no one knows what I have in my head. It's only me who knows. No one knows our background. It's only us who can express. Sometimes you even lack the words to express it. But it is in doing this. It is in doing this that, you know what? There is nowhere that we cannot go. We are here because our CEO says no one gets left behind. Now I'm clicking, living from brick and mortar to click and order because of Onpassive. I didn't know anything about IT, but now I'm clicking. Auntie Lynn can testify. I want to click. It's like I'm going to break a button. Are you sure you want me to click this? Maybe I'm going to destroy something. But we've learned a lot. So what language is there that we cannot learn? I'm ready to learn all the languages. I'm ready.
That's very true, Yvonne. I think this just brings some other thing to mind, because language depends on what you mean, right? We've learned a few more new languages. I think I should add to the list of my languages, because just how much I've learned, especially from our old tech guys who've been around teaching us some of these things and stuff. I think my vocabulary has increased. I think I can earn a degree or at least a diploma or a certificate in what and knowledge that I've just acquired within Onpassive since the 19th of June 2020 till today that I speak, because that's another language of its own. This IT language and stuff, these are things we never knew, right? So you talk to people about AI and stuff, those are things I never knew what is AI and all of those. But today we speak it. That's a whole new language you have acquired, because I speak at what do? I translate it into Pidgin, for example. Gladys takes it to Swahili and so on. What we speak to people in Pidgin is not nursing, it's not medicine, it's stuff. It is IT. That's a whole language we have acquired, taking it back home. So it's just a wonderful thing. It's just such a blessing, and we will do more. There is just more than enough. I'm happy we can't round our brains about it, but then the CEO is thinking, they're doing the thinking and the everything for us. And yeah.
And you know the beauty of it, Konfor, is that Onpassive bring you out of yourself. He's telling you who you used to be that you didn't know. You start doing things that you never knew that you were going to do it, and it's so amazed that you're doing it, and people love to see it. And yeah, I know I never knew that dancing was a passion for me until I was so happy, and the only thing I have to do is to dance, and now I can't have a day without dancing.
There you go.
That's something that Onpassive brought up for me. You are not angry. You find yourself being happy at any moment. You are just happy because you
Yeah.
know that tomorrow life is not going to ever be as yesterday or the one that is coming. Every day things are changing. So the happiness is just like contagious. You cannot fake it. You just make it on yourself to be happy. You choose it and you see how laugh start flowing. You the dancing part that you used to have it, you know that you can do it and you say what else. Now I'm just happy.
I know
So
that's another language of its own, because people are like, she never used to be like this. What's going on in her life? You're communicating. You're communicating. Somebody will ask you what happened that you started dancing. You tell them that Onpassive happened. And what next? What is the next question? What is Onpassive? That is when we start talking, right? So it boils down to the same thing. This is language, right? Because
Unpassive
yeah,
is
so even Unpassive, like you say, brings out the best in you. It goes all around language and stuff. I remember the first time I interviewed people like Dr. Bill Williams, like Marty, and so on. I was really trembling, but sometimes you are really daring. You just go to these people, call them, sit them here, and ask stuff and so on. But now I don't care, because at first I used to listen a lot to myself. Say, first, I don't speak well. Secondly, my accent and bad English and stuff. But then after that, I said, no, I don't care. I just go because everybody understands anyway, so it's all good, I think.
Unpassive is a new passion for most of us, right?
Yes.
It's a new passion, and we're so passionate about it that we share it with as many people as we can. We help people out, and that breaks all the barriers right there, because we're passionate. When you're passionate about something, there are no barriers. You look for a way to communicate as best as you can, and that's what we have here. And I just love it. It's amazing. The passion that we have with this company is unmeasurable.
That's true. And when passion meets opportunity, it
Yes,
cannot be stopped. I
absolutely.
can give myself as an example. I joined Onpassive 2018. Very passionate, never missed a meeting, commented on the chat during webinars, but never showed my face and I never opened my mouth. One time, that was since 2018 until 2021 November. There was a webinar in PNG, and I think the guest who was going to speak could not come that night. And Maddie, I think, reached out to Lynn if they can find someone to speak. And Lynn asked me to speak, and I was like, no way. Like, what am I going to tell them? I spoke at that meeting, and I can confess it openly. The feedback that I received is what made me to start the Kenyan webinar. It's what made me to start coming to the stage comfortable. Because I was like, are they serious? You may not know how many times I played that webinar. I play to the end, again, I go to the beginning to the end. So Onpassive has provided a stage or a place where we kind of discover ourselves, that potential, that seed that was dead inside, to come out and to blossom. And I thank God for Onpassive. I thank God for everybody who has played a part in my life in Onpassive. And a special thanks to Ash for bringing this on.
Thank you so
You
much,
said it
Sister
so
Gladys.
perfectly,
Thank you, Mary,
It is so
for that
important because,
opportunity.
like you said,
Really.
Unpassive has taught us a lot of moral lessons. Like, get out of your way
Yeah.
and get inside of yourself and pull that thing that is within you that you were created to do. Getting out of your way. I was afraid. What am I going to do? I can do these things. But just like you said, to bring that seed that was just laying dormant inside of you, you brought it out and look at where you are. I love to listen to you. I just love to listen to you. I so love your accent. I so love if you can teach me that Swahili. I love it. And Unpassive has brought, it's like, this is University of Unpassive. I have learned so much. Even my brothers, I manage my brother's account because of the internet difficulties in Cameroon, which is one of my responsibilities to take care of that someday through Onpassive. I manage their account, but it's so hard for me. But I've come to the point where I have learned through the encouragement and the mentorship of kings and queens like you guys, of Mr. Mufare, who has also made things simple for people like us that never grew up with the computer or the internet, that, you know what, I can fail my way to success and don't have to be ashamed of it.
Yes.
Because failure is part of growth. If you don't fail and you just go into something just once and you get it, guess what? That thing will come someday crashing down so bad that you wouldn't know. But if you fail, I've learned to know that fail and continue to nurture, to water, to build that foundation, and it will become so solid. Because right now, if you tell me, I'll say my foundation is more solid than all of you. But guess what? It's not, but it is, because of how far I have come. And I just want to be grateful because each and every one of you, whether you know it or not, you have contributed in one way or the other to who I am today, using and talking on these things. And that little 11-year-old girl, and I know that there are so many 11-year-old girls, I'm going to take it to the world to fly so that those girls too can also be exposed to what I have right now, to all children. And I mean it. You guys have done a lot for me. Now, I just say, my Benaway. My Benaway means thank you in my dialect.
I think
My
Dr. Bill's
Benaway?
in the house.
My Benaway.
Dr. Bill, you've been to several countries in your lifetime. What languages have you got in that back pocket of yours?
I know he speaks Swahili.
Well, I took Latin when I was in high school. VC started out my language career. I graduated up to Spanish by the time that we were in high school. But you know, the thing that I really would speak to languages about is I travel all over the world showing the Jesus film, which is the Gospel of Luke. And that particular language has been put into 1,900 languages. And we would go to countries and show it in their language. So we showed it in Kenya mostly, where we were. They have 70 different languages in Kenya. And we had our film in Kiswahili and Maasai, and we had it in, of course, English. And so we would be on different nights playing it to different languages, to different groups as we would travel throughout Kenya. And I can remember pulling teeth all day at the dental clinic and then driving a couple of hours to a village and showing the film with a battery operated system on a bed sheet that was tied up between the trees. And we were getting the film for the first time in any of these villages. It was the first film that I had ever seen. And it was like an awesome thing to show people, you know, something in their own language. So that was kind of my first introduction to languages there. I traveled around about 56 countries, and I tried to learn Indonesian. I tried to learn Russian. I tried to learn a lot of languages, but I wasn't there long enough. But I did learn a few basics, like what's the beer, right, Andy?
Dr. Bill, correct me if I'm wrong. Dr. Bill, correct me if I'm wrong.
I think the main thing.
Hello?
Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, what about it?
Oh, okay. I wasn't quite sure. I keep going in and out here.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the language of Jesus was Aramaic. Am I correct? The language that Christ spoke.
Arabic as a primary language, and he knew Hebrew. Aramaic was his primary language.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, another thing that's interesting about languages, I worked with a translator of one of the versions of the Bible, the Pidgin, and he took the original Greek and Hebrew and Aramaic text and came up with his translation. And so he was staying at our house here in Atlanta, working on the translation with him. And he asked my opinion, which would sound better. Two different ways to say the same thing. I can say to people, where's that translation? But hey, it's funny, you know, being a lecturer around the world, talking to people. I've had the opportunity for simultaneous translation and the opportunity for serial translation. And of course, simultaneous for AI meant that there was a player in the back of the room and a listening on one ear, they were speaking out in a different language so that people could hear in earphones that were in the audience. There may be a substitute between her and what was said. And that's a totally amazing to be able to. So we had German, French, Italian, and Japanese translating what I was saying in English. Onpassive is going to do 10 times better than that. You know, they'll have all the languages all at once. And it'll be like the United Nations meetings every time we have a meeting. That's going to open the doors. And the educational systems will never be the same. I mean, the good teachers will rise high. Teachers might not be able to find a job. So it's going to shine the light on the good talent around the world. We can get an audience. So I think language is really the great. We have multiple people living in Europe that are door to door next door to Portuguese. They have a leg up on us over here in the United States. We don't have a language we typically go to here. So I'm pretty sure language is going to transform the world when it's ubiquitous that you can to anybody about. And it's going to reach a little bit more matrimony too. Looks
like you got moved.
Yeah, you froze up there, Bill. Let me move over, or let us move over to Marty and lay it on us, Marty.
Well, I definitely found out. Can you guys?
Yes, Marty, we can hear you.
We can hear you. Yeah.
I'm still hearing Bill once in a while. Anyway, am I clear or am I stuttering or is it clear?
Not yet, but
you're clear.
Okay. What I found out, well, I traveled a lot when I was working a regular job, but with Onpassive, even if you don't know the language, you know what people are saying. The craziest thing I ever saw in my life. You know when someone's speaking with care and love in their heart, you don't have to know what each word means, but at the end, you know what the meaning was for me. And I think a lot of us see that in Onpassive. I was a big time, I love treasure hunting. And the sad thing for me was most of the treasures in a cemetery, people that have died and never lived a life. They never really got to do their fulfillment in life. And what I love about Onpassive more than the products, the equipment, I love the platform for it's going to let everybody live to their fullest. If you don't shine it on Onpassive, it's your fault. Because it's open for you to be all you can be. It's like the Marines. I really believe that everybody in Onpassive can be all they can be. About 3 years ago, when we were really getting heavy into webinars, I made it a point when I'm in a webinar, you know I'm going to talk because I got a big mouth. But my main thing was to look for diamonds in the rough. I've said that from day one because I think the strength of the company is the growth of people. And I don't think you make anybody. I think you can knock on the door and they can open it. And once they do, they're gone. I heard it from people here already tonight. It's fact. So I would look for diamonds in the rough. I'd hear how somebody said something, not what they said. And a lot of times there'd be a meeting. If Mr. Mufara was there, he would say, wow, who is this? And I would just say, diamond. I'm dead serious. And this went on forever and ever and ever and ever. And because he's really good at it, I mean, better than anybody I've ever met, he analyzes why people say certain things, not how good they are at saying it, right? Because some of us don't speak as well as others. But if you listen to the heart speak, it doesn't matter what language it is. It doesn't matter how good you are at pronouncing words, or are you very good orator and speaking to people and all that. He can tell by the heart. And the power of this company was the heart. It was really, my opinion, nothing else. The other things are a byproduct of where we are right now. We've surrounded ourselves with a lot of people that we're like. Okay, we don't look the same. We don't live in the same countries. But when I talk to Comfort or I talk to anybody here, I feel like we can relate much deeper than a pretend sentence of, oh, I hope you had a good day. You know, the fake stuff. You really mean it. You know when you're in a room with people like that because, look, I grew up with friends. They came to my house the other day. I grew up in 55 years. I've known them. 55 years. They walked in my house, and the first thing I thought is, I don't know you. Yes, I had acquaintances with you for many, many, many years, but I'm much closer to people in Onpassive because we have one thing in common. We have perfect vision with our heart. And I see that every day. And I know that sounds corny, but I can listen to people because I analyze people constantly. I am amazed at people that are different. I love Mr. Mufara because he is not like anybody else. He's not. But not only is he not like anybody else, he cares for people more than himself. More than himself. And you want to see people that are respected and Onpassive? They're the ones that are servants to others. Without a doubt. You go up to somebody and ask them a question about somebody, and the first thing out of their mouth, oh, that's an unbelievable person. That's a leader in Onpassive. And you'll see that all over, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It's the core of Onpassive. Ash calls it furniture now. Get the furniture. Who do you want? Just grab the furniture. He knows who it is. He can name everybody by heart. No joke. In fact, I used to make a list, and I'd say, I'm not making a list. He's going to come back with one in 10 minutes, and he does. But it's the same list. What is that? You know what people are doing. He knows. He listens to people, how they respond, how they act to people. And he also looks at people and how people respond to them. You know, I mean, if you're drawing people towards you, it's a good thing. They want to be around you. They want to listen to you. They want whatever you have. Listen, there's a lot of times I talked about Onpassive to people and they go, I don't know what it is, but whatever you have, I want it. And then eventually they get it. They start seeing a little more clear, a little more clear, a little more clear. But I found out a long time ago, people that say no about Onpassive, they're blind. They're blind in the heart, not in eyesight. I've got friends that are pretty good marketers. They don't get it. But you know what? I knew it. I knew when we were doing it, so he's not going to get it. I don't think she's going to get it. I don't think he's going to get it. Then you go to that one person. You say a few things. Where do I sign up? Because they know. I knew going to different countries. I said, oh my God, everybody's the same. They all want good for their family. They all want the best they can do for their kids. It's so different. The whole world's the same. But with Onpassive, there's never been a gathering of this many people that have each other's back, have the same intentions of just being nice to each other. It doesn't cost anything. As said something to me a couple of years ago. He goes, you know what? The most bizarre thing is creating a business like this, and that it's so unique when it should be common. Shouldn't there be companies that you can trust? They don't try to get over on you. They give you a real good value. They treat you well. They don't have any hidden agenda. They don't have any small print. They're not trying, you know what I mean? So he's doing the right thing, but it's really sad that the right thing is so scarce. But I'll tell you what, we're all gonna benefit from it. But the power of the company is the people. No doubt about it. He knows that too. He told me right in the beginning, you will draw people that you're like. You will bring in people in this company that you're like. And look around. We have a lot of people that feel the same way. There's that one crazy one, and that's going to happen. A lot of them have left because to them we're nuts, because they don't have the sight in their heart. They have the sight in their eyes. They don't believe in anything they can't touch, feel, whatever. And Onpassive, I believe it like I believe there's a sun in the sky. I don't need a webinar. I don't need us to tell me when something's coming. I don't think about those things. I don't wait. It's coming and it's going to be fantastic. And they're doing it all for complete strangers. Ash could have built this monstrosity by himself with his family and not put up the headaches with founders who took advantage of the company, said things that weren't true, and caused a headache for Ash and the company. But he loves the core group of people that really, truly care. They have trust. They have faith. They're sticking with it. He knows who he can trust. That's a big deal, especially in a big, big company like this. But really, his thing is people. He loves people. He loves it. He calls same people. Where's that? Where's this person? Where's that? Because he knows how they truly feel. And that's the beauty of Onpassive for me too, is finding the treasure. Because I've seen people go from not turning their screen on, barely putting their name on there, to now you can't shut them up. They're everywhere. They're talking to everyone. See, that was inside them from the beginning. That's what I believe. And if you can open up and be you, what a gift that is. I know so many people that they retire at 60 and die at 75, 80, and never really lived. They never lived. Onpassive is a platform of hope, freedom, and choice of anything you want to do. And people should grab it and run as fast as you can if you want. But I'm going to try to drag as many people in as I can because they need Onpassive. And I forgot what the question was. But anyway, that's my answer.
Excellent answer to the question of what language do you speak.
I think
Okay.
you
I
just
speak Onpassive, okay, I guess.
I think you spoke all the languages though.
He speak the language of love.
He spoke the universal language.
Universal
The
language.
universal language. You answered all the questions.
But I just
Yes.
wanted to say, Marty mentioned something about people finding it corny if you use your heart to think with. And scientifically proven, this is scientifically proven, our hearts are over 5,000 times electromagnetically powerful than our brains. Okay, now when you get a whole bunch of hearts together moving in one direction, it's absolutely amazing. You can't stop that kind of force. And the thing is, we've all heard that, the technologies we have today is making the world a lot smaller. Well, Onpassive is making the world even smaller. So that breaks all barriers right there. And like Marty said, when you're using your heart, oh my God, there is no stopping you. In unison. Yeah.
Right.
Beautiful.
You know,
Marty. Thank you.
Just to add, Tony, I think that everything on passive was kind of planned from the ever onset. Or I don't know, because on passive is not something that just woke up one morning and happened. Everything was well planned and just handed over. You know, ash is a big instrument that God is just using, whether you like it or not. That's how I look at it.
Me
You know,
too.
because they look at what is the population of the world? Why is it that it's just you, myself, and these people are part of Onpassive and not the others, no matter how much we tried? There's a reason for this. You know, that's a whole lot of its own. There's a reason, because everything just clicks well. The moment we meet, it goes just really well. You know, because somebody like me, I grew up not really knowing love and stuff, because I had cousins who were fair skinned. I was dark, so I was ugly because I'm black, I'm short, and stuff like that. Good for nothing. But one day came, you know, you just have that opportunity where you talk to people and they just accept you, and then they encourage you, you know, because it has, no matter how much we're trying to make it the language at the back office, it's not about that language. It still remains around love, because the love that you get from here, it lifts you, it takes you to places. Like somebody like Dr. Bill Williams, severally he has talked about me, even in my absence. You know, sometimes say, "Oh, the whole time I don't know what you've done, Dr. Bill Williams." Like yesterday, he spent about 2 minutes just talking about you and so on. I said, "What did I do?" and stuff. You know, it takes you to places. You know, until then we run a show for a short while. Sometimes we meet before we go out there with people arguing. You go first, or you do this. You say you plan it because you're best at this. It feels so good, and it really uplifts some. Personally, I feel so uplifted because I'm just like, oh, love is something that everybody can experience. You know, so it's all about love. We have been trying for the past more than 1.5 hours to talk about the languages in the ecosystem, but it's not about it. That language is just that 4-letter word. It's all about love. It's all about that peace and these people that God has brought together. And I believe that we are on a mission. We are actually assigned. It's an assignment. It's something that we will accomplish, because all the hearts, everything speak the same, and it works really well. And it's just going to go like that and get to its, I think, designed destination.
And
So,
I believe with that kind of power, we will be the correction to the corruption.
exactly,
Yep.
exactly.
And thank you so much, Sister Comfort. And I will support that and go back to Brother Tony. You just talked about the fact that the world is this small. And I always say the world is a global village. You treat somebody with what comes from your heart, because you never know tomorrow. The world is getting so small. Onpassive has even made the world so tiny that you just think that you can just reach out with your hand and say hello to somebody or just embrace somebody. We are doing it now. Look at these faces. This happened to me last Saturday. You know, somebody that we were just meeting virtually, and I actually met that lady in person in Atlanta. And when I saw her, it's like I've been seeing her forever, but we were just meeting virtually. So the world is a global village, and Onpassive has actually made it so possible that it is that way. Because Onpassive saying they're going to be the correction to the corruption, you know, the suppression to the oppression. If you think about a little girl in this little village whose main thing was to acquire an education. Education was her only tool to freedom and success. And being here now among this family, this is the best family I've ever had in my life. A family that is going to help me do what I'm supposed to do. God has put in my heart to do is to uplift young girls, children all over the world who have gone through some major difficulties, that they didn't think that they can ever be amount to anything. Like Konfor was saying, that you will never be amount to anything. If you don't do what they ask you to do, you will never amount to anything. But that determination to say, you know what, so long as I'm breathing, I will amount to something. That determination brought, I think, maybe all of us here, for one reason or the other. It can be one thing or the other. And without pain in this life, you will never have any gain. Because maybe if I didn't go through what I went through, or some of us didn't go through what we went through, we would not have that stamina, that love, that determination to say, you know what? I will do this and I will do it for the entire world. Who am I? This little me, mini me, to say I'm going to do this, do this. Who are we here? There has to be that powerful, powerful force that we don't have words for it. I just call it divine intervention through a prophet. I call him a prophet, Mr. Mufari. And all of you here, like Mr. DeGarmo, I follow you, whether you like it or not. Chris Johnson, Collins, Comfort. I follow you guys. Everything you say, I'm writing it down because it's going to help me. It's already helping me. Lynn is there. I call. I said, Lynn, answer the phone. Why are you not answering? I said, Rob, come on. I need to talk to. I just bother everybody. But that's just the way I learn. And I just want to say thank you. The world is a global village. We have to treat one another with the language of Onpassive, which is love, hope, and that determination. Thank you.
I agree,
Yeah.
Yvonne, and I just wanted to touch a little bit on that. That was beautifully stated, and you're right. It's one global village, and the nice part about it, and we always talk about becoming the correction to the corruption. When you do the best way to become the correction to the corruption is to have your enemies as close as possible. And the smaller the world, which we have here in Onpassive, it's making the world a lot smaller. We can keep an eye on the people that are doing all this corruption. You see what I'm saying? A lot better. We can keep an eye on what they're doing. And then once they find the inspiration that we've got moving ahead, which is the language of love that we've been talking about here for the longest time, they will join us, and that's how we are going to be the correction to the corruption. It's beautifully stated, Yvonne. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, if I may add something brief, I think there's one thing that stands out completely that Ash has as a quality or a virtue that not many people have. He sees every human being with potential unless you prove otherwise. He tries to provide a place. He provided a safe place. As many have spoken here, we have discovered more things that we could do that we were not aware of, or some things that we dreamt when we were young kids, and something happened in between. The dreams died, and now they are reviving, they are coming up. So having that potential to identify potential in people and provide a platform that people can be able to be who they were meant to be. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why he has provided us with Onpassive, so that through Onpassive, we can be able to achieve our dreams. And we don't take this for granted. This is a privilege and it's a blessing that I believe that anybody who is in Onpassive and anybody who will come in Onpassive should be able to live and remember and cherish for life. Thank you.
Yoo-hoo. Can I say something, please? And I know it's not to make anybody uncomfortable. You know, I always refer to my situation because if I didn't live it, I would not know what to do or what to say. You know, in certain cultures and even still globally, even in our country, the United States of America, priorities placed on the male child more than the female child. And we are still struggling, fighting for rights. And those rights are inalienable rights that God has given to all humankind, to us. But for some reason, we're still fighting for it. Talking about a child that was growing up that's colonialism. Because if you don't know the history of the world, you cannot be able to bring about solutions. Colonialism and other imperialism and slavery and other things have come to a point where the government is unable to provide free education or educational resources to the children. And when the parents, particularly the father, who is the breadwinner of the home, establishes a business, they take a lot in taxes. And for that reason, now the father tries to ration. Who should I send to school? Now I'm going to send but my male children to school, And then I will give the female child away into marriage so that I can collect a little bit of resources that I can sell or do something in order to continue to educate the male child that will inherit me and take care of my place when I'm gone. And so it becomes so difficult that when Mr. Ash with Onpassive says we're going to eliminate all of those, I am so grateful because right now I come from a country where it is still under colonial exploitation. And I know from the history of the world, like the Democratic Republic of the Congo, there's a lot of child abuse there where, the superpowers that come now, they equip these children 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. Instead of going to school, they give them little money, little alcohol, or little drugs. And then these kids are being put to work in the mines, and some of them are dead. They are working to provide for their families at that age. And so child abuse is so rampant in a lot of these countries that people don't talk about. When you talk about it, they look at you like, oh no, why are you talking about it? But I'm grateful that Onpassive is here. God has blessed all of us so abundantly in every country that we can exchange things. God is the one who created everything. Everybody has space for everything in this life. And as we are coming together now in love, for one another, the love, the language of Onpassive, I am so grateful that a lot of those things will be eliminated through us, we the brand ambassadors, because I am ready to help, to serve, to do whatever it takes to help any child in the world to be where they're supposed to be, to do what God has actually created them to be, because we cannot hoard these things. A lot of people, they're just hoarding greed and power without distributing and so exploiting other people. And I really like to talk about this so that Mr. Ash Mufara knows, he already knows. You guys already know, you, our leaders, already know. That is the situation that I was placed in. But for some reason, God spared my life. But those who were going through the same thing like me, a young girl, they are no more. I'm the only one who is here. And so I will bury my life working to serve children all over the world because God gave me that life for a reason. Otherwise, I would have been gone. I'm living with scars all over my body, but I refuse to die. And I'm here. I have to serve. Thank you.
Andy, could you, I see you're back. Talk to us, brother.
I've kind of missed some of it because I was out of it for a while, but I'm not a religious person. I am spiritual. I could say that. But I do believe that there are no coincidences in life, and everything happens for a reason. And I'm certainly one of these guys that have looked for something like this for 50 odd years, 40 odd years, not that old. But stop giggling. Not that funny.
I'm not.
But it's interesting that you accumulate people that are of the same thought process. That's the best way I can put it. So you attract those that feel and think the same way, which is exactly what Ash has done. What's drawn me to this is his approach, his vision, and the way he is with others. That is phenomenal. As Marty said, it's just, we've become a family, and it's and I find it fascinating and phenomenal. So yeah, that's my bit.
All right. Marcian, we haven't heard from you in a few minutes. Come on, Marcian. Dance on over.
Yeah, unfortunately, I cannot start dancing before talking. But there's one thing I want to say is the love on passive, the love language that we have on passive is real. Just last week, I was in Minnesota, and there's a lady that came in. She came to me and she held me. She said, "Oh, Mercy," and I turned around and looked at her. She said, yeah, I saw you in Onpassive. I came in here because I know I was going to meet you. I was going to see Bob, and I am on Onpassivians. And she said, I bought my ticket. Of course, I'm going to England for the event. And I mean, I've never seen her. This is what Onpassive has brought to her. This lady, I don't know her. She came to me and she said, I see you. You are Mercy, and I see you. I know you guys were going to be here. I follow everything. I live in Minnesota, and I said this is my opportunity to meet some founder. And right there in the hall, she took picture with us. She was so amazed. So this is the love we are talking about. This is the language we are talking about. This is the people that Ash Mufara have bring together to connect. He went around the world and he sprayed it out. He said, this is something I'm doing. People from, I call us, all of us, children from the same womb of the same mother now, because the mother womb is so powerful. And those people that they attach their home to Ash Mufara with Onpassive, it start connecting us, and 1.4 million people come together and be that children from that one house. That's the house of Onpassive. And that, the mother of that Onpassive and the father at the same time, Mr. Ash Mufara, he has done so well. And nobody around the world can change this at this moment. Even if it's anything that happened. Sister Konfor says something. It's not by mistake. It did not happen overnight. It was planned to be. And he was the messenger for that. And he is, Izumi is doing it. I am praying every single day, like he said 2 days ago in the webinar, that I should not die. Not for me, but because of all the things that I still have to do for the generation to come. That's why I'm praying. I'm praying that I should see the day that everything will just be so light. Because as for me, I'm enjoying it. I'm living it. I'm feeling it. I'm loving it. It's my new life. This is the new reality. My new reality is now Onpassive. I don't do anything without putting it online. And that was something that I should have done a long time ago, but I didn't know how to do it. Onpassive have opened that door to me. I used to have a post 2 years ago when I post something in another platform that I don't call name. Nobody look at it. Today, when I post something, an hour, minute, I have 2,000 people that they're looking at it. Come on, this is Onpassive for real. Remember what Ash Mufara said. If you follow me and if you are just sitting down and listen to me and let me do the job for you, the world will know your name. Believe me or not, the world have already known our name. We have been reborn by this great company. And now it's up to us. Our brother Marty said it on his show like 2 days ago. The fence is down. And I put the hashtag, the fence is down. Take it, grab it, run with it. The fence is down. There's no more barrier. Ash Mufara broke it. He put it down and he tell us, take it and run with it. Now it's up to you. When you have that vision, what do you do with it? When you are in the middle of people, what do you do with your time? Are you taking it and run with it, or are you taking it and sitting down in the one corner and be asking questions? Where are we? When are we going to do this? Who is doing it? It's you, the founder. If you don't tell your neighbor, if you don't tell your co-worker, if you don't tell your brother, if you don't tell your children in the house about Onpassive, who is going to tell them? Spread the word. Write that name in your scripture. Onpassive is our new reality. This is our new life. We have to let the whole world know in every languages, including the language of love that we all have. Communication. Our brother, Dr. Bill Williams said another language like song and dance. I wrote a song for Onpassive. It's not because I know how to read to run. He came to me and I gave it to JJ Skipper to play because I know he knows how to play it. He did it. And I'm still writing songs for Onpassive. I'm not a writer. I didn't know I can do that. I didn't know I can dance. I didn't know I can sing. But remember, it's a way of communicating. It's a way of telling people that you are happy. If we know all of this, we know how Onpassive is so good, what it's going to do for us, and we don't show it. We are not the example of that thing. How do you think that your neighbor is going to follow you? No. The law of attraction. Love your enemy. Give them what they don't have. They are your enemy because they don't have it. If you give them, they will follow you. When you say is my enemy, your enemy is somebody that doesn't understand you. But when you give them the love, when you start opening them and let them know that this is what I do, I'm not hiding anything, just like Ash Mufara did with us. Believe me, the world will speak your language, and the world are going to speak the Onpassive language, the language of love. They like it or not. We, the founder, we are saying it with authority. The world are going to speak our language. I heal the balance of my time to somebody else.
Thank you so much.
Guys, I'm going to have to love you and leave you. It's 3 o'clock in the morning.
All right.
Okay. Just so you know, Marcy,
Thanks for having
when you
us.
come to Minnesota, I am right here in Minnesota. Anybody that comes here to Minnesota, I'm right here. I can cook very delicious meals and you will eat. We can go around. So know that I'm in Minnesota.
I'll be there on August 17.
I will get a way to contact you so you can get my information. I get yours so we can unite and go around. Why not? Go to the Mall of America and talk there.
Sounds good. Dr. Bill, you were just commenting in the chat about the educational costs, tuition, housing, etc. Let's hear a little bit about that. It's interesting.
Academy and what it will do. You know, we were talking earlier about the cost of education, how people in third world countries don't have access to higher universities. Some doctorate level courses are not available, and they've got to learn a new language to travel, say, to the UK or anywhere that's a major university, the university time and effort. And then you got to travel and pay. It's just an investment of 25% of your life just to be able to go and take the. And then half of people don't want to go back, and so they kind of stay in the country they're in, bringing power from the country. And so the poorest and the richer with this educational system like it is.
You're kind
The
of
country.
going in and out.
In some cases, not every time. But I would say this, with Onpassive having the ability of national studies, the university systems are going to crumble, and we're going to have universities online in all languages available to anywhere. It'll cost of what it costs to go to college and get a degree. You'll still need to have your hands-on training, doctors to still train on patients, but you can still get years of education without the laboratory work. So I'm looking forward to Academy setting the new stage. And the language barrier is one of the major things that's going to be beneficial for the teachers to teach all over the world, the students to learn from all over the world. So I think that the teaching profession is going to be in for a real shock, good and bad.
That's right. And
What do you think?
Comfort. Well, thank you so much, and let's have Comfort chime in on that. I know she's recently pulled her children out of school, I believe, out of regular school, and she has a dream for her children, and she might want to share that. Comfort, can you share? Comfort? Hello, Comfort?
Maybe she's
I
sleeping.
think she's frozen.
Oh, can you hear us now, Comfort? Comfort? Can you hear us? You have to unmute. We can't hear you.
Sorry.
Oh, no. I had Dr. Bill talk about Academy and the cost of educating someone, with the huge cost and the all that. So I was saying you could talk next because you were recently talking about pulling your children out of school because you have some dreams and goals for your children, and it's not involving them going to regular school. So I thought share about that.
Yeah, sure. I know. Yeah, academy is it's something I can talk about throughout the whole night, but then I would narrow it down to me too, though, because like you rightly said, recently I just pulled out my children out of school for some reason, and because too we are ready to go and everything is at our disposal, everything is going to be made possible. It's just a very exciting thing, because I know how much it's going to benefit me and my family together, and then connecting families too. It's there's just everything to it. So, like I learned a lot more about this when I spoke to with Daryl Cook. He'll make it understand that even through with the connecting academy to all connect and stuff like that with learning and all of those, you just have you when you close your eyes and look at what is happening, the possibilities, it's just like wow, 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 because a lot is happening even with the homeschooling thing. You choose what to do. Now my children are learning my local language. I'm just like, okay, you can just say through academy or through or connect, every Saturday you speak my language with my father for the whole day or for as long as it takes and stuff like that. So everything is just very it's open and the opportunities are wide. So apart from that too, we come from the part of the world where people suffer a lot to sponsor send children to school. I think almost all of us here can testify with each other, Yvonne and Marcian. Parents have back home, parents would sell the only family plot of land, sell even a family home and stuff like that, just to send children to study abroad with the hope that when they come back, they'll bring some big money. But then we all know the truth, don't we? So it never turns out like that. So the family gets even poorer and stuff like that. But then we have the best thing here at our disposal. You don't need to travel, but then you study the best of whatever you want to study. You start the same competition in the job market like children all over the world and all of those. So it's just a huge blessing to us. I can go on and on and on and on. So yeah.
Thank you. Well, we covered such a lot of ground tonight. It was a very free flowing discussion, not strictly moderated. So we did cover various topics, but I thought it flowed really nicely and people got a chance to share what was really on their mind and in their heart. So I thought it was a very beautiful session. And I want to thank you. We've been here now for over 2 hours. I think time flies when you're having fun. We had a very active chat. If you observe that, so many great ideas came out and hearts flowing. It was just beautiful tonight. So I want to thank each and every one of you. And I want to give you all a chance to say your final share, maybe about a minute each, starting with Yvonne.
I just want to thank you all so, so much for being part of me, part of my family, because my family knows all of you now because of Onpassive brought us together by one man, the vision and the dream of one man, Mr. Ashmufara. I am so grateful for all of this. Education Academy is what, like Comfort just said, it's going to help a lot of families, especially like mothers. We got to stay at home while staying with our children, preparing meals and eating dinner together with them. And it also helps those families that sell their land or do whatever it takes out of nothing to send their children abroad. Some of them are drowning in the ocean. Some of them are dying in the forest. This alone is going to eliminate that a lot. And just sitting there, it is going, the security for knowing that your child is going to sit in the confines and the comfort of their own home to study with you around them. I think it builds the child mentally strong, morally strong, and more bond between the parents and the family. So I'm just so happy for all this. I think I'm going to have too many jumps tonight. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now we go on to Marcian Hemabu.
Yeah. Thank you to everyone around the world that they are listening to us, and thank you to RobLynn Live for bringing us here tonight. And I'm just happy to be here, and I have to say one thing in French à toute la communauté de la francophonie dans le monde entier. Si si vous faites partie de Onpassive, je vous en prie, ne restez pas sur place. Essayez d'aller dans votre bureau virtuel. Contactez toutes les minutes, toutes les secondes ce qui se trouve là-bas. Partagez l'opportunité à tous nos frères et sœurs dans le monde entier. Partagez cette opportunité. Nous en avons beaucoup sur la main. Thank you, Antiline. Thank you to everyone.
Are you going to give a little synopsis in English of what you said? I'm sure people are curious.
Yeah, I just say that I'm thanking you all for being here. And if you are among the French speaker people, you have to go to your back office. You have to check your back office. You have to check your OES and look every minute and check. Make sure that you see what is going on. And please share it to other people. You have to share, because if you don't share it, you are hiding it. Share it to all, to everyone. Tell them where we are. This is our home. That's all I'm asking them to do, to share. Keep sharing it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. All right, we go on to Dr. Bill with your parting comments.
Okay, you know what? I was talking on Heroes earlier today, and I had a request, and I thought I would honor that request. We have a very, he's really active, Minnow Miller, and I know, but she's very active in the chat all the time. And she asked me to repeat something I said on Heroes, so I wanted to do that. I was talking about how I felt about Ash's presence on Sunday night, the 30th, and I felt like we were at a wedding. The wedding was over, and Ash was the father of the bride. And I never saw a happier, because everything had gone so well, and had met the man of her dreams, and they had, and we were right on that web where Ash, seeing them getting into the car off on their, and everybody was throwing the rice and having a, and say, my daughter's life has been a success and her future looks bright. Now, sitting there thinking of Ash being more relaxed and happy because the stress of it all has kind of passed. The thing is fixing to be launched. And that was the feeling and the sense I had that we were just completing a grand wedding ceremony. That's the way it was. And that's the way it is.
Thank you. That's
so
beautiful.
Thanks for the request, Manu.
Thank you, Manu. Thank you, Dr. Bill. All right, we go now to Tony Monk.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I relate to what Yvonne has been talking about tonight when she talks about the children. By the way, thank you, Lynn and Rob, for having me on tonight. And thank you, everyone on this live, for being here. Appreciate it. I relate to Yvonne when she talks about children and education, only because language barrier is a big thing for me. And the reason I say that is because when I first came to this country, I was 8 years old. I came from Portugal, from the Azores, and I couldn't speak English. I was 8. So where did they put me? They put me right into grade 3, expecting me to do the same curriculum as everyone else. I couldn't do it because I couldn't speak the language. So the teacher would yell and scream in my ear of how dumb and stupid I was, and she would drag me to the corner, put me in a corner, and I would play with Lego in front of all the other kids. You know, and to me that was mean, but that was back in the 70s. But what I'm saying is that, you know, once I broke that language barrier and I started to speak English, my self-confidence started to develop, my self-worth, all those things that we all take for granted. I started to develop over the years, but I can relate to the language barrier, and I really do believe that with the connected hearts that we have here in Onpassive, we have so many connected hearts here in Onpassive, massive. When you have that many connected hearts moving in one direction, it's a force to be reckoned with, and that's what we have here. And the smaller we get, the bigger Onpassive gets, the smaller the world gets, the more we're going to break that barrier. Not just the language barrier, but every barrier that you can possibly think of. Thank you so much, Lynn, for having me on tonight. I really do appreciate it. And thank you, everyone on the panel. Great to see all of you.
Thank you, Tony. Next, we go to Marty DeGarmo. If you can speak, can you speak now, Marty?
Yeah, Chris was calling the same time you asked me. I had to hang up on him. He's caused me nothing but headaches the last 2 days. Only thing I could say is be your brother and sister's keeper. Lift people above yourself. Focus on others. Help each other. Guide people. Share this business not because of business, because they need it. Live your life to the fullest. There's too much for you to give. Find out what that is. Some of you don't know. I heard it tonight. You didn't know until you did it. And once you do it, you're like, I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know I had that in me. Everyone has it in them. Everyone. God doesn't make mistakes. He does not. The only mistake is if we stop it. And the fence is down, okay? The fence is down. Run, 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 run. Do what you want. Go back to being a little girl, a little boy in your mind, and live your life. Live it to the fullest. That's what we have. And let's start putting shoe on the shoeless. Let's give water to the thirsty. Let's cover the poor. Let's take care of our brother. We are our brother and sister's keeper. That is Onpassive. It's just not a digital product. That's all I have to say. And thank you for inviting me here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Glad to have you with us. Now we go to Konfor.
Okay, thank you, Auntie Lynn. Thank you, Rob and Lynn, for inviting me here today. And thank you, panel, for all of us who were here. It's been a wonderful evening indeed, and great encouraging comments from our family back here who joined us. So I just want to go back again, Auntie Lynn. We know why we came here. We thought that we were coming to tell the world about the languages or the language barrier we have broken in terms of spoken language. No matter how much we tried, it only proved beyond reasonable doubt that it has nothing to do with spoken language, but the one universal language, which is love. So I just want to encourage everybody watching us now, if you are a founder, for example, for more especially, make use of this love language and just stand up and do that thing which is really itching in your chest. You feel that, oh, I can't do it because if I speak, they will not understand. Because if it were just about this language you speak, I would not be here. I would not be helping with the webinars and stuff because I don't speak the best. But because people love you, you have met people who love you and you love them too, they will listen to you and they will understand you and they will help you. So we are all limitless. Whoever is part of this, you are limitless. We have everything we need. We have the solution. We have all the support. The love is there, which is the universal language. Stand up now, start doing, start speaking, start just get on it. And before you know it, you will be telling your story like some of us are sharing over and over again. And guys, I want to encourage you. It's just so fun. I'm not calling on people to do what I'm doing, but I want to share that if you think that you want you want to know your children more, or you want to make good use of Onpassive, and the time you have, you are considering what does it take to teach children or to take care of children at home, homeschool, and so on. It's so fun. How much I'm already discovering my children when it's just the beginning of it. I believe that at some point I'm going to be like, oh my God, it's just wonderful. And the opportunities are limitless. Everything we are doing, how much, the first time my daughter would discover this software board, the first card she designed was homeschool. School is good, but homeschool is best because you get to be around your parents all the time. They feel safe and stuff like that. Onpassive has all of these things. And when you have your children with you, you will help even more because you teach them how to reach out to children who don't have the yogurt that they have every day. When you eat a yogurt, remember this and stuff. So there's just everything. But thank you for the love. Thank you for the opportunity. And thank you all for knowing you. Thank you.
Thank you, Comfort. And I remember your story, talking about how a child is debating what flavor of yogurt they want, where there's another child that has no yogurt.
Exactly. That it touches me deep down.
Yeah, that really touches me as well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. What we want to do is we're going to talk about the contest, who guessed right on the background, and then the 6 of us are going to do a quick photograph after we go off air. Okay, so stay with us.
I think Dr. Bill was raising his hand.
Oh, did you? Dr. Bill, you want to say something? Go for it.
Oh, okay.
Did you want to say something? No?
I'm okay, I'm done.
Okay, alrighty. So here we go. I want to say that thank you to Davina for the beautiful backdrop that we all enjoyed and the fun contest that we have every night because of her. And she says the background is a beautiful Chateau de Chambord, France, which is very fitting because we were hearing Marcienne speak French today, known as a hunting lodge for King Francis I, famous for distinctive French Renaissance architecture. And Davina says, congratulations to Lorna, Alex, Frank, Dr. Benny, Casey, Pravin, Roy McPhail, Laurie, Karina, Mushfek, Dr. Bill William, and Irena, and everyone who got it right. So I'm glad you guys got to enjoy the contest. And now we're going to go back to the main screen, and let me pick up the last few comments before we end. We have a good night from Frank and a thank you from Fanina. Mohan says good night. Good day to Marty, and he's in India. And we have, Jean saying, beautiful image, Davina. Keep us going. Good night from Eric. Hi, Shaheen. Shaheen says good night to us. He's here with us every day. Rajinder sends his prayers. And Robert says, good to see you, Dr. Bill and Tony. Angela says, wonderful, Davina. So this is the end of our show, and we're going to see you guys tomorrow, same time, same channel, different topic. As you know, my husband is not here on the screen, and people are saying, where the heck is he? Well, his knee is giving him issues, so it's killing him. So he went off to ice and heat it. So that's why he's not present at the moment, but he's sending his love to you all. All right. So good night to everybody. We're going to go end the broadcast now, but 6 of us, please stay for just a short minute. We can take a quick photo. Okay. Thank you, everybody. We love you.